So my question is this, since it's easier to lead by example, do any one of you currently have someone you can turn to ask questions about accessibility?
Okay, let's go through the list. Let's go in alphabetical order this time. Giorgio Mammoliti, why don't you start?
I for years, have sat on a number of different boards. The Men's Sana is a board up in the north end of the city that deals with mental illness. Caritas is also a board that I've sat on in the past and fundraised for many years. And I understand the issues and I understand the needs. I frequently ask my friends on those particular boards because they're the closest to me. And those service providers that I know in the industry, many of you are here tonight, as well as those in TCC that provide services for the tenants. For me, it is absolutely important to suggest and move forward with advice from others before we implement policy. I have done that for 20 years and will continue to do that.
Thank you, Mr.
That's why I
Mammoliti.
bring forward the policy.
That's our time, Mr.
Like
Mammoliti.
housing.
Joe Pantalone, you're up next.
Forward to these kinds of debates.
Mr. Pantalone.
Well, I have a stepmother whom I share a house with who's 84 years old. And like any 84 years old, the body doesn't function as well as it used to. Therefore, that's part of my reference point, if you will. Also, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health is always been in my 29 years that I've represented that area, has been very much close friends of mine, and I'm there to use them as a reference point. The Center for Independent Living, Shaw and Dundas Street, is another example of somebody who, organization that I've helped and have close contact with, and I use it as a reference point. So, and also, I've been injured myself and know what it means to be walking on crutches and so forth, and knowing how difficult it can be. So those are my reference points, which I think has enlightened me because of the issues that are confronted by members of our community.
Rocco Rossi.
Well, my first guide is my brother-in-law, Bill. He suffered a brain injury at 8, and then in his teens he lost a leg in a subsequent accident and has a prosthetic, and provides a lot of wisdom. 2, I was the CEO of the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Ontario for 4.5 years, and have many friends in the stroke and cardiac rehab community that also provide me with tremendous insights. I was on the founding board of the New Haven School for Autistic Children in Etobicoke. I have many friends in the autism community that again provide me with much wisdom and sounding board. So this is an area that's deep within me, and that thankfully I'm surrounded by brilliant and wise people.
George Smitherman.
Yes, very many. Some in this room. If you came to my campaign office tomorrow, you'd meet Ken Harrower. He just turned 49. I gave him his first job a couple of years ago, and he's a full-time presence in my campaign, and I dare say he's part of my family and my life. When I first got elected to the Ontario Legislature in 1999, I hired a woman named Doreen Winkler. She's blind. She may be known to some of you. I brought her over to the Ontario Legislature, and it actually took the intervention of the clerk to find a budget to buy the JAWS technology, which would enable her computer in a way to allow her to go about her work. So I've had just the opportunity to experience working with and enjoying relationship, and dare say almost like family, with so many people that experience one form or other of disability. I have lots of great sounding boards to turn to.
Sarah Thomson.
Yes, I left home at 15, and the one thing it taught me at a very early age is that the only thing you can count on in life is change. And that being the one thing you can count on, I found that asking and constantly listening. So I ask people with disabilities what they need, and I constantly listen. And I try not to slant towards one person or another person, but I try to include all their ideas and see if we can have an overreaching policy that can address everyone's needs. So I think that's extremely important. that listening to the issues and needs, and that they will change, and they do change constantly. So we can't come up with one certain, person and say, well, we have to address their needs. We have to look at them all, and we have to constantly listen and constantly be open to new ideas.